The Summer Kings get back in the win column, beating the Timberwolves 93 to 80, led again offensively by Jordan Ford, who had another big offensive game. He is continuing his charge for a contract, for most likely that two-way contract. And right now it's looking like it's going to be pretty hard to deny him that. He's had one bad game so far in this entire summer league, and he just looks so comfortable out there running the offense. He is everything to this offense, and without him it looks pretty rough at times. And so I really hope that he gets a chance. I hope the front office gives him a chance. I think in this game you saw something a little different than we'd seen before, and that was him not knocking down his three-pointers. He went 0 for 4, and in the game that he played poorly, he also couldn't hit his threes, but I think in every other game, he'd at least hit one. But I think he showed in this game that he doesn't need that three-point shot to thrive. And what he was doing in this game to really be successful was his change of pace. He was using his quickness to get to the basket, using the defender's own body against him, getting up and unders, and creating out of his drives to the paint. And I think what makes him so good is he's never out there just kind of set on one mindset of like, I need to score or I need to pass. Like he never does too much of one thing. He's always has the right mix, and he really just seems to make the right play a lot more often than not. He ended this game with 17 points, 7 assists, also chipped in 2 steals, and really the team as a whole, they got 11 steals as a team, and I think the defense in this one was super fun to watch because everyone on this team has active hands. It seemed like everyone was swarming to the ball, but then once that ball would get kicked out, the rotations were on point. You know, every time a Timberwolf drove to the basket, the ball was getting swatted at by some help defender. And yes, the Timberwolves definitely had some unforced errors, some, unforced turnovers, some errant passes, but a lot of it was forced by just the activity defensively from everyone on the Kings. And the one lineup that I particularly liked was the one with Chance Comanche, Kessler Edwards, Jalen Slawson, and then Jordan Ford and Aleem Ford. And so that's a pretty big lineup. It's not massive, but it's pretty normal, I guess you would say. But it's one that the main Kings team doesn't really have that type of size. So watching it in this game, it felt like every time a Timberwolf drove to the paint against that lineup, it was Kessler Edwards, Jalen Slawson, and Comanche all there contesting it at the rim. And there was no easy baskets at the rim. And that's just something we don't see with the main team. It's something that the team lacks because we don't really have a great option to go to a lineup with 3 bigger active defenders and athletic defenders like we do on this team, because you think to the main team, it's like, what would be the closest that we have to that? Like either Sabonis or Len at the center, and then you go like Trey Lyles and Keegan Murray or Kessler Edwards. Like it's just something we don't really see. So it was fun to watch the size and athleticism from the whole lineup, and especially the front court in that specific lineup. And the defense from all 3 of those guys that I listed was really good in this game. And Kessler Edwards finally had a better shooting game in this one. He is actually shooting 40% from 3 in Vegas. He went 0 for 8, I think, in the California Classic. But in Vegas, he's shooting 40% from 3, and he shot 33% in this game. But that kind of surprised me because it feels worse, but I think it just feels worse because he's been worse in other areas offensively. But in this one, he hit like a turnaround jumper midi, which was very surprising. And he was creating for others. He had 5 assists. Like, this was no doubt his best offensive game. of summer league, and then adding in the defense as well. And then on the boards is where he really was shining, I thought, especially early in the first half. He was really good rebounding the basketball, had 8 rebounds in this one. And I just loved watching the athleticism of this team as a whole. So many athletic players and good defenders on this team. Like Jalen Slawson was playing really well defensively, but on the offensive end, there's a lot to be desired for him. Because with him, what I was noticing is he was just rushing decisions a lot of the times, and his passing decisions were not the best. And this was a pretty fast-paced game, and the Kings want to run. That's just something that the organization has brought from the main team, and then they want to, you know, maintain the same system down to, summer league, G League, all of that. And so they're trying to get out and run. And so Slauson, would get a rebound and then would make a bad decision on a pass, on an outlet pass. And, he would be pushing the ball up the court and just try to do too much instead of finding a guard and lose the ball out of bounds. In another one, he kind of just made this really weird pass in transition, and it didn't result in a turnover, but it just kind of stopped the whole transition opportunity. And so you can see that, there's a lot to be desired on that end. He's super active on the boards, super athletic, and if he can find a way to make the smart plays offensively, and if he can find a 3-point shot, then it's possible that he could find a spot in the NBA, because his defense seems very, very good to me. And then Comanche was, like I said, good defensively as well. 2 blocks, 1 steal, but he was pretty good offensively as well. He was getting a lot of steals in the paint. There was one play, he had a little guy on him, posted him up, and Jordan Ford was kind of turning away with the ball, and you could just hear so loudly on TV him shouting, "Wait, Jordan, Jordan!" I think that's what he was, or Ford. I can't remember which one, but he was shouting at him to get the ball. But he did that a lot, sealing his defender inside, and I really liked his what he was doing offensively inside. And then Mike Daum was someone who I was talking about after last game, of being a guy who was a great shooter, seemed like a solid player, but that his athleticism was probably holding him back, especially on the defensive end. And then he just comes in and has a defensive master class in this game. 4 blocks, as well as contesting a bunch at the rim. He looked great, just being in the right spot at all times. He had a rough shooting game, but Mike Daum, he's a really solid player. I don't know if he'll ever get a shot in the NBA. I don't know if he'll even get, a 2-way contract with another team, but I feel like, well, I think he does play overseas, but I feel like he can dominate overseas. This team just has so many good defenders, like Keon Ellis, another game with 3 steals. I mean, has he had a game where he didn't have over a steal? Maybe he had like 1 game with only 1 steal. I thought with Keon in this game, the defense always going to be there. The deflections, the steals, always going to be there. But his offense has been solid in this summer league so far, and I thought in this game he showed a little more creation on the ball, more than he had previously in this summer league. He made some really nice passes. He looked pretty comfortable on the ball, and it's something I've been questioning about him, of can he be a point guard? Because he's 6'5", so he has the height to be able to play off guard. But before this game, I hadn't really seen it with him on the ball of being a point guard. But I think this game, it looked a lot better. I mean, you look at the guard rotation for the Kings, and there's just no spot for him. And the only real spot could be 3rd string point guard. So that's kind of why I'm thinking about this. And I would bet that the Kings bring in a vet to be that 3rd string point guard. And so it's going to be tough for Keon to get minutes next season. I think he definitely can be an NBA player. especially with his defense and his three-point shooting, but I don't think it's gonna be next season. And unless the Kings clear guys out of that shooting guard spot, I just don't really see it happening on this team. But you never know. I mean, he's just biding his time, right? Because trades can happen. Roster makeups can change very quickly. And so if the Kings, look to trade for bigger wings or, backup bigs, then a spot could open up for him. But right now, you're looking at obviously Herter, Monk, Duarte, and then Colby Jones is there as well. And Colby Jones in this game uh, went out with an injury. Doesn't seem serious at all, which is good. He struggled offensively. I think he was solid defensively, kind of like everyone else, but he definitely struggled offensively. Still got 2 floaters to go. Couldn't hit his 3-point shot though. Those floaters are just always automatic though. They're always there for him. But I think when you compare Colby Jones to Jordan Ford, like what I was talking about with Jordan Ford, he seems to always be able to mix between scoring and playmaking, passing, getting others involved. And I feel like with Colby Jones, well, it looks like he is either hesitant to score or he's driving, and that's the only thing he's thinking about is scoring. And so I think that playmaking ability of just being able to kind of make quicker decisions on the fly is probably where he needs to improve. Because when I'm watching him, when he comes around a screen, I feel like I can predict what he's gonna do. Also with him, the 3-point shot, I don't know how that's gonna be, but it definitely doesn't look like the best shot. It's not the quickest or highest release. It's not I don't know. There's just something about it that doesn't look great. When you compare it to like an Alex O'Connell. I think it's tough for him to shoot off the dribble or just when there's a defender close. And so we'll see in the NBA what it looks like when he's wide open versus when, there's a defender closer to him. If he can knock down those wide open threes, then he'll be fine, I think. But that's just something I'll be watching. But speaking of Alex O'Connell, just love watching that dude play. I love watching him play. He was money in this game, 5 for 9 from three. And there was one sequence where one of them didn't count, but he splashed like 3 threes in a row, just nothing but net. And then came down, hit another shot that like barely hit rim. He was so locked in, ready to shoot any shot. Whenever he got past to, he was ready to shoot. I mean, he played 16 minutes and shot the second most shots on the team. He played like half as many minutes as Kessler Edwards and Keon Ellis. I don't even think he's that bad. Like, defensively, he seemed fine. I feel like he can, actually dribble the ball when someone closes out hard on him and make simple passes. So I don't I love watching him play. He's so fun to watch. On one hand, it's kind of refreshing to watch a team that's so athletic and active defensively and just getting after it, getting 10 stops in a row. And obviously some of that's just, the offense of teams in summer league is obviously not even close to what it is in the NBA. But it's still nice to watch the good defense. But then on the other hand, when I'm out there watching Keon Ellis kind of dribble the ball around and no one's moving, and I just, I miss the main team's offense. I guess one guy I didn't really address, and I haven't really talked about him at all, and that's Aleem Ford. Just because all the guy does is sit on the 3-point line, chuck 3-point shots. I don't even know if he's made one. Doesn't seem like it. He's probably made a few, but he just anytime he shoots, I'm just like, oh, that's a brick. He's just yeah. That's just how is he getting minutes over Alex O'Connell earlier? Like, why is he still getting minutes? I don't know. I don't. him and Boom are not fun to watch on this team. I will say I love watching everyone on this team, and then there's just like those two guys. I'm just it's not it. Like I feel like everyone else I can envision, going off in the G League or getting a two-way contract or going overseas and dominating. And then, there's those two. Like I'm sorry, but they're just they're not it. Like I took 5 notes from the game while watching, and one of them was just Aleem Ford just catching and shooting and missing. There is one more game in Summer League, I believe, on Saturday. So hopefully the Kings can win that and get a winning record in Summer League. Not that that matters at all, but matters to me a little bit. It probably matters to the players a little bit, to Luke Laux a little bit. So, anyways, that is it for this episode of the Roll Report. I will be back after that game on Saturday to recap that one, and I will see you guys later. Peace.